tons of trouble ahead. There's war. Mordor is rising. And what are they giving me? A fucking broken sword. What fucking use is that? I mean, it's nice and sharp. It can cut Boromir's finger, but bloody hell, I want to go in with a proper big bloody sword. But they give me this, don't they? Oh, but you've got the one ring. You can look after the world. Just keep it secret, keep it safe. Have you seen me? I wear a vest and a kilt. Nothing's ever hidden. Everything I've got is on show. Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your broken sword swishing Middle Earth saving services. How are you all? Hope you're doing very, very well. Now, folks, you may remember that a couple of videos ago I had a big unboxing in this very room here, and one of the boxes I couldn't open. The other box I could open, and in fact it turned out to be a great omen from our good friend Ronnie in Ireland. He sent us some Funko figures of Jurgen Klopp and Alexander Arnold, whatever his fucking name is. But anyway, Liverpool won the FA Cup last night. Awesomeness. So it was a good omen there. But in the other box, which was a huge, misshapen, horribly Frankensteinian sort of design, full of gaffer tape and cardboard. No matter how much I cut into it, I could not reveal what was in there at all until after the video. And then I opened it, and all was revealed. People have been asking me ever since, what was in the other box? Kilt-Man, what was in the other crate? What was it? Well, we're about to find out, because the contents are just over yonder. And yeah, that is a great big hefty clue. Yeah, and this as well. Yes, there we go. So I'm going to swivel this round and try and not trip over the wire that's actually lighting the ring light behind the camera right now. In fact, what I'm going to do, I was going to go round behind, but that's going to cause even more bedlam. So let's just try and step over. Those of you with a weak disposition, a fear of serpentine creatures, look away now as I step over the wire. That was the couch creaking there. Folks, what was in the box? Well, Kilt-Man will now reveal to you what caused him so... Well, there you go. You've now seen it. It's a couple of pesky hobbits. This was what confounded me. Those of you who saw that video will know that the big, massive creation that your friend of mine, Astrodyne, your friend of mine, a traveller in time, Astrodyne, had sent to me, because for it was him that sent this to me, had packed it in such a way that there was, I think it would be that bit there. See that bit there? See Pippin Tuck's sword there? That was sticking out, and it gave kind of like a weird shape to the packaging itself, almost like, you know, did a shark do this? It was kind of crazy, and but no, it was clearly that, and the whole structure was folded up inside, and yeah, it took quite a bit of unveiling, unpacking, lots of knife work to try to get all this packaging away. And what was revealed was these two dudes here, and but I've been asked a lot as to what was in the other box, what was the other package. Come on, you must tell me. And so here it is, and there you go. It is a standee. Now, if you watch that video, and way before I opened it, I was perusing its dimensions and the size of it and all that sort of thing, and I genuinely said, is this a life-size standee of Warwick Davis from Willow? Another fantasy movie of another short person in a huge fantasy movie? And Astrodyne himself said, oh God, you were so close. You even mentioned Middle Earth. Did I? I'm not entirely sure I did mention Middle Earth in that video, but I may have done. But either way, clearly, I was thinking magically in cahoots with this sort of thing. And so this is what we've got. This is what we've got. And it's a massive standee of Pippin Tuck, Meriadoc, Brandy Buck, Billy Boyd, Dominic Monaghan from the phenomenal Lord of the Rings trilogy. And this is Lord of the Rings Return of the King. You can probably see that there. In cinemas now. Samsung, you can see Samsung there as well. And on the other side there is, I'll raise it up for you. You can probably see there's an old vintage Samsung phone. Look at that. Hey. Obviously Samsung were marketing in Middle Earth at the time. I wonder what their kind of signal would be. Would EE be best? I don't know. But I've got a lot of standees from cinemas. I've got some really great ones. I've got tons of Gladiator ones. I think I've discussed it before. I have a 50-foot long vinyl banner. 50 foot, that's 50 feet long. But it's kind of narrow, but it's just long, and it's a marquee sort of presentation from the opening of Gladiator. I've got an incredible amount of stuff from Gladiator, including a skin branding, a tattoo from Gladiator, and costumes and swords, and you name it, and props from the movie, tons and tons from the movie. But this vinyl banner, it's in a huge wooden box, and it's beautiful. I have seen it, but I can't unveil it. Why? It's 50 foot long. What can I do with it? Where am I gonna put that? That's a family heirloom. So, my kids will obviously benefit from that in years to come. But I've got loads of standees from Gladiator and from Van Helsing and The Mummy and, oh God, so many. No James Bond. Mission Impossible, I've got stuff from that. Lara Croft, when Angelina Jolie was Lara Croft, I've got standees from that. And other movies. A lot of them shit, but I still picked them up. And I've got loads from this. Loads and loads from, particularly Fellowship, from its cinema run and from its release on home video. Not so much from The Two Towers as it transpires, weirdly enough, but a lot from Return of the King as well. But not this one. So Astrodyne, yeah, it's wonderful. You can hear the music playing now. Howard Shore's fantastic score for Fellowship of the Ring. And we're in the Shire, we're in Hobbiton. We're these two guys, and you gotta love these two guys. I mean, Samwise Gamgee and Frodo, yeah, they're awesome. They saved the day, but they're a pair of gay bods, aren't they? And the homoerotic stuff is beyond the pale. They're awesome. But I love these two guys. They're tricksters, they're jokesters, they're mavericks. They're always up to a bit of a scamp, They're always doing something renegade, nicking fireworks off Gandalf. They're doing stuff, and they will drop the Fellowship in the shit a few times. The fellow shit, as it may well turn out. But both of them will go through, like everybody does in the Fellowship of the Ring and Lord of the Rings, the whole trilogy. They go through an odyssey. They will learn their true strengths. They will learn their true allegiances, and they will prove their mettle. And both of them, they get obviously abducted by the Uruk-hai. Perfected now, my fighting Uruk-hai, says Saruman. And Lert and his mob go after these and the ring bearer. Lert gets killed. Aragorn takes him down, but Lert has killed Boromir. And these guys, Boromir went to save them, and these guys fight. Although unbelievably, the fighting Uruk-hai with their huge bestial cavemen, throwback monster men. Is what they are. They're huge, hulking brutes, and they've got these fabulously, but sort of crudely fashioned weaponry. But they're just designed to kill and maim and just cause the maximum destruction. and they're terrifying to behold. Laertes gets wasted, but these guys picking up stones somehow seem to be able to take, it's in the book, but they take them down with like fantastic throwing of little stones, taking down 8-foot tall Uruk-hai monsters who are armoured, and like bang, but they'll send them back. What kind of power do these guys wield? Lower center of gravity? I don't know, but definitely they do the job. But they get abducted by the Uruk-hai. Laertes gets killed. The Fellowship splits up, and Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli go after these guys. We can't. Frodo's on his own mission now. He's beyond our help. God go with him, or whatever the hell he says. Like, and but we can save Merry and Pippin. So off they go to try and get these guys, and of course these guys they're almost eaten by ravenous orcs and Uruk-hai, and then they manage to escape into Fangorn Forest. What drove them into there? That place of evil. Well, just escaping basically from people that are going to try and eat them. And then they encounter Treebeard. Yes, that great big green man, folkloric legend that is Treebeard. And how wonderful is that? They will drink some fantastic enchanted water, and they will begin to grow. But who gets bigger than the other? Then they will part company. They will both become warriors. Pippin will become the Knight of Gondor, is it? Working for what's his name? Denethor, the steward of Gondor. Gondor has no king. Gondor needs no king. And he will sing a lament for Denethor as Faramir and his men get butchered by the orcs at Osgiliath, just beyond the borders of Gondor. It's all fantastic stuff. You know all this anyway. But these two guys are massively, I think, unsung. When we all think about Lord of the Rings, we think about, well, Aragorn, King of Men. We think of Legolas, fantastic hair, and all this kind of stuff. And obviously Frodo and Samwise and Gandalf. But these two go through such a story together. Well, not together, they get separated. And then when they come, because they're busy mates, they're proper big time mates. But they're all mates with like the little hobbit sort of quartet. But Samwise and Frodo are hugely in love. Just good mates. No, it's fabulous stuff. But this dickhead, of course, is the one that in the Mines of Moria, he knocks the buckets into the well. Boom, toom, 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 toom. And they're all like that. Fool of a tuck, says Gandalf. Fool of a tuck. Do us all a favour and throw yourself in next time. And then you hear the goblins' tribal drums, bum, 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 bum. And then the rush of all them. And this dickhead's gone and caused it all. But they will all have their moments of glory, their moments where they shine. That's why it's such a fabulous movie. And Ashradine has sent me this. This is not the full vet, by the way. It's a 3D sort of stand. Well, I say 3D. It's got a backing piece. It's not a 3D one, but I can gather there was a piece at the bottom of this, a big base, which is not there. Doesn't matter because the backing pieces are there, so the thing will stand up, and it's wonderful. I do sort of question why they're wearing the elven cloaks. This is Return of the King. This is an image from Fellowship of the Ring with a kind of weird colour scheme. It's funny because the movies had colour schemes to all their promo, advertising, marketing, and Fellowship of the Ring was always green. The Two Towers was always brown and earthy, and Return of the King was sort of red and sort of burnished gold sort of look. So you've got this sort of lilac-y, purpley, pinkish sort of thing going on here, and it's Return of the King, as you can see. It's Samsung, and Galaxy phones. But look at him. Meriadoc, Brandybuck, Pippin Tuck, Dominic Monaghan and Billy Boyd. Billy Boyd's Scottish. Billy Boyd was magnificent in a supporting role in Master and Commander, Far Side of the World, which I did a massive review on as well. He's been in a lot of TV stuff as well, Dominic Monaghan. A couple of movies. But they're both tremendous actors, and it's kind of hard to work out why they haven't made it much bigger than they have done. Obviously, we know like Viggo Mortensen and Orlando Bloom. I've had great career. Although Orlando Bloom, what's he doing now? Orlando, you haven't called for a while. What are you up to? I don't know. Obviously Elijah Frodo, whatever his fucking name is. He did everything he possibly could to break away from the image of Frodo. You know, he was in the remake of Maniac, one of the most notorious of video nasties, which I love, by the way. I think it's great. And the awesome Caroline Munro and Joe Spinell in another team up. You know, it's grisly, it's nasty, it's fantastic. But the remake of Maniac was an outstandingly updated adaptation of that story, and all told from first person. So the only time you see Elijah Wood, I remember his name, Elijah Wood as the Maniac, is his own reflection. And of course he was in Sin City, he was in Green, what's it called? About the football hooligans, Green Street, I think it was. And he's a football hooligan there. You know, he did everything he possibly could to break away from I'm pointing to someone who's not there, from that Sweetness Sunlight, you know, the Hobbit that saved Middle Earth, you know, and did the right thing. And, you know, and I can understand that. I can genuinely understand that. Sean Astin, who played Samwise, I have no idea what he's done since the Rings movies. Absolutely no idea. I'm sure he's done something, and people are going to correct me. Sean, if you're watching, please let me know, because I genuinely think you're wonderful in the movie. I think everybody is wonderful in the movie, in the movies. But these two, kind of often unsung, they're a great little pair of raconteurs and buddies, and they get so many scrapes, and then they go through this hellish odyssey. But they will come through, they'll find their bravery, they'll find their heroism, and they'll see the greater world. But as they all do, they return to the Shire at the end. And it's so good. That I've said it before on the channel, talking about ringsy stuff. When they go back to their pub, their local, and they're all sitting there after all they've been through, and they've got like tankards of ale, and they're just like, they don't know what to say to each other. They sort of look at each other and just have a moment of reflection. And then Samwise sees, you know, Rosie, the big buxom barmaid. I'm having a bit of that. Oh, I am. So off he goes, and they're all like, and then it breaks the ice. It's a genuinely wonderful human moment after a trilogy of movies which have been so spectacular, so magnificent, so huge in undertaking and spectacle and scale and emotion, and it works. You need it. Of course, then it all goes tits up when Frodo frigs off, you know, to the Grey Havens. And I'm like, what? No. And they're all like, the endless finale, the endless climax. And who doesn't want an endless climax, you know? But it's wonderful. And so this standee is glorious. It's I did not, when I was unboxing this or trying to unbox it agonisingly, and it just weren't working. I should have used this. That would have cut through it, no problem whatsoever, you know. But I had no idea that's what it was. And at some point I did out and I saw the faces, it was folded up, and I went, okay, right, all right, put it down. Don't show you guys. I'll do this later. And it's been quite weird how many people have been saying, what was in the other box? I can't believe what was in the other package. Can't believe it. Show us. Oh, what's there? It's the doorway to a hobbit hole. I was trying to find, I've got all the Lord of the Rings figures. I've done videos on them. I've got the entire collection, all the different seasons and movies and variations. I've got every single bloody one. But they're not in one place. And unbelievably, I was trying to find just any figures of Merry and Pippin. And I couldn't find any. I found tons of Frodos and Samwises. And every other character, but could I find these two? No, not at all. So they're there. I'm sure you've probably seen them. But they are great characters. They are. And it's nice to have them sort of, not immortalised so much, but just captured in cardboard. Because nothing says longevity more than cardboard. And well, I mean, that's from, when was it? 2004? Was that when Return of the King came out? 2003, 2004? Something like that, wasn't it? So that would have been from that era. And I've got plenty of stuff from, I've got stuff from the 70s, as it turns out, but they're a bit shit, to be honest. They're not no way. I'll never show you them because they're too moth-eaten and completely mottled. They're awful. I've got one from The Hills of Eyes, which is just genuinely, you wouldn't recognise it. It's just a piece of, I know what it's from. And it's weird that a film like that actually got, sort of cardboard standee at the time. And that was from a local flea pit cinema. The cinema I've discussed many times, the Phoenix Cinema in Wallasey Village, no longer there. Used to be the Gaumont Cinema during the war, but during the war, I mean, we always go to the war. There's been so many wars since the war, but when you say the war, you mean the Second World War. And it got bombed by the Germans. Yeah, the Krats, And it was burnt to the ground. So, but it got rebuilt in an act of defiance. We're going to rebuild this cinema. And they called it the Phoenix because the Phoenix rose from its ashes, of course. So the Phoenix, and when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, I was there after school. I was living in that cinema. I'd go there straight from school. I wouldn't go home. I'd go straight there. I was in school with, it was a privately owned cinema. I was in school with the daughter of the people that owned it. So I knew her, so I got in for nothing anyway. And the chief cashier was my busy mate at the time. It was his mother. So I just walk in, waltz in, no worries, no issues. And I'd see X-rated movies, double A's. In the UK, you had to be 14 to see a double A. That became the 15, and obviously an X became an 18. But I was, 9, 10, 11 years old, and I was seeing these movies, these very unsuitable movies for someone of my tender age, all the time, and staying there all night until closing time. I'd be given a couple of hot dogs as me tea, free of charge, and I don't doubt that there are still cinemas, probably in America, where this sort of thing may happen, where it's just like it's somewhere out in the sticks, and it's the only cinema you've got, and people live in the town there. They're going in, the kids are going in, and there's no sort of like statute saying, hang on, how old are you? But in the UK, it was kind of frowned upon, but back in those days, I got away with it like murder. And I'd be there and I'd watch the film again and again, like 3 times a night, be watching these movies. Things like Suspiria, things like The Hills of Eyes, obviously. Got Halloween, The Thing, as Poltergeist. I saw all these on the cinema run when I was underage. Oh, many more as well, many more. A lot of video nasties as well, what become video nasties, albeit in cut down cinematic versions, and then on video it'd be released in a full uncut version. Most famously, of course, most infamously, Zombie Flesh Eaters, which played cut down in the cinemas, cut down drastically, but then on home video, the same year it got released, it came out in 79, or I think 1980, I think it actually released British shores cinematically, but 1981 it came out on home video, and you had two versions, the theatrical cut, which was shite, and the one that said strong uncut version. That's what you wanted, because that was the full hit. Lucio Fulci, I've reviewed it, I've discussed it many a time. Fantastic. And but I'm sitting there, what would I be? Again, 10 years old, probably tops. Oh yeah, zombie mayhem, hot dog, zombie eating shark, oh, look at this, oh, boobies, oh, throats, this is great. And I'd finally go home at like midnight, and mum would go and like, you've done your homework, haven't you? And I'd be going, who cares? I've seen zombies, the end of the world is upon us, what does homework matter? Tremendous stuff. But yeah, they actually had standees. They had, when you went in, it was only a 2-screen cinema. We had another cinema called the Unit 4, which I've discussed before. The Unit 4 actually had 6 screens. So why the fuck it was called Unit 4, I don't understand. I've never known it when it only had 4 screens. It's always had 6 screens. And by the way, it's no longer there at all. And back in these days, folks, we had intermissions. A lot of people don't know what they are. That's when the film stopped for a break in the middle. And the film would just stop playing, lights would come up, and on the screen it would say, intermission. And the curtains would come across. Yes, curtains. And like, that was your cue to go and get hot dogs, get a drink, kia ora, and all that kind of shite. Or just go to a bar. There was also often bars in these things as well. And it was great. You know, you'd socialise for a bit, like your half time between, you know, in the big match, the big game, half time break, and then you go back and you sit down and resume, and it was great. And especially like, I mean, the things when it comes to the epic movies they're making these days of three and a half hours plus movies, and that's becoming the norm. There's a big outcry now to bring back the intermission, and I endorse that. These big long movies, watch them, enjoy them, and savour them at home. I can sit through these things, but I'm getting older now, and it's a bit of a slog to do it. I know I'm going to watch these things a million more, if I'm into it, a million more times at home, when I can go to the toilet and have a whiskey, I can do whatever, blah, 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 go and do some press-ups, or fucking whatever what I want to do, while the film's on. But you can't do that in the cinema, and you're sitting there, and I've got to be honest, I do not like packed cinemas. I'm not happy with that. Who invited them? Fucking hell, you know. I know it's always open house in Kilt Mansion, but Jesus. Keep it down, lads. Oh yeah, everyone's a comedian, aren't they? Yeah. I don't like sitting there in a packed cinema now. I don't know, I'm getting older. I want my own space. So if I go with like the kids and that, I'm like fucking, you know, I want to be on the end so I can stretch my legs out. I don't want to be hemmed in by anybody, which is a bit of a pisser when it comes to like big opening day movies. Like, I can't wait to see Thor, Love and Thunder, but that's going to be colossal again. But I am picking and choosing films I'm going to go and see theatrically because of this. Just don't like sitting in the crowd anymore. Just don't like it. Isn't that weird? I love being in crowded pubs and clubs and like being full of, you know, just full of banter and everyone's around. Yeah, great. But sitting there for 3 hours, fuck off. No, don't want to do it. Unless I'm sitting there on my own, that'd be great. Got to sit there to myself. Super, super happy then. But beyond that, no. That's why I tend to carry a weapon with me these days. Back, away, unless you're serving me hot dogs and more whiskey. Get you gone. But yeah, so the Phoenix actually had all these things. When you walked into the Phoenix cinema, it was a 2-screen flea pit, and so you had all the cashiers. The main foyer was there. People would queue in there, and then they'd go down the street. Like for Star Wars or Jaws 2 was a huge. I remember queues for Jaws 2, and the likes of Who Dares Wins. I remember that. I saw Who Dares Wins, the Lewis Collins SAS super action. I've reviewed it. I've covered it a lot. I remember that coming out, and because it was riding the crest of the wave of the Princess Gate SAS Embassy Siege, which is awesome, of course. and was televised as well. And it was a big movie at the time. I don't think it did massive great shakes. I think it had a great opening weekend because of, you know, its prestige and what it was. The secrets of the SAS were going to be revealed to you. Yeah, okay. But there was a queue right the way down the street, and I mean going on because I could walk past all that. And you know, little young Kilt-Man, Kilt Baba was just like waltzing in. Don't worry, and they were just going like, in you go. Don't worry. And sometimes there'd be your mates as well, so there'd be a few of us, and they just let us in. You really think about it, if you're queuing up and you're paying, it's going to annoy you, isn't it? But hey, you know, when you're a kid, you're like, we're awesome, we're superstars. It was almost like celebrity status. You just walk straight to the front of the queue, best seat in the house, you know. And sadly, that doesn't happen now. But so at least I had a taste of that when I was younger. But so you walk in there and that'd be open for you, and then you went through this weird, horrible sort of section. So you go out the foyer, and there's a couple of doors there. No one ever used the door over there. You pay for your tickets there if you paid the tickets. Aye. And then you go through that door, and then you go in this big dark sort of square hallway where and they had all posters which were lit up. It's like 3 on one side, 3 on the other, and they were forthcoming. Or sometimes, I think in the last few years of its life, the Phoenix used to put like famous classic posters on, like Jaws, The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, that sort of thing would be there. Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And it had like, it interspersed the forthcomings because they were getting less and less movies because they were dying, basically. It was the end of independent cinemas. But back in those days, you'd have all the forthcomings there. I remember seeing Zombie Flesh Eaters there and seeing, oh God, what else? Halloween 2. Great. Halloween 3 as well. I remember seeing that and being like absolutely agog at Halloween 3. And loads of other stuff like Escape from New York. The Thing. I mean, these are the things I remember most of all because they're my favourite movies of all time. But seeing The Thing, and it was an early promo artwork for that. God, if only I'd gone hold of that poster. I never did. I used to get posters off them, but I never got The Thing. And it was that weird one where it's a block of ice with a huge crack going up towards it, and you're looking towards this block of ice and this fissure in the glacier. And it just said, there was no tagline like "Man is the warmest place to hide" or anything like that. Or you know, the ultimate in alien horror. It wasn't none of that. It just said like The Thing, and it was all dripping letters. Now I've seen not that poster, but I've seen variations of it. But that poster, don't know who did it, designed it. It was unique. If only, and I remember standing. Enter the Dragon was another one. That was a re-release. Obviously, I was too young to see Enter the Dragon. I was only a fucking little, about that big when that came out. 74, wasn't it? But I did see Enter the Dragon on a re-release, and I remember the posters as forthcoming, and it was there, and the great, you know, he's got the nunchuckers and all that, like, and wow. And I remember standing in front of that and going, First Blood as well. There's another one which I stood in front of, like, what's that going to be? What's that going to be? I was like, oh, wow. And it was just, that was the mystique and the aura of cinema. I do believe it's lost all of that completely. Films themselves have not lost their aura and mystique, but the whole cinema going experience is not the same. It's just too easy to, and you've seen enormous trailers, you've seen teasers, you're festooned with stuff on social media and forums, and of course I'm guilty of exacerbating that myself, promoting movies. And look, it's the way the world has changed, but I still look back. Oh, The Evil Dead was one of those. Oh my God, that poster, the poster which has the woman coming up from the grave with a rotting hand holding her throat. Imagery which you do not see in the movie whatsoever. It's all purely staged. And in fact, it's tamer than what you see in the movie. That, standing in front of that as well, like, The Evil Dead, oh my God. And The Evil Dead was cut in the UK cinematically, but I got an uncut version on Betamax from my good friend and great esteemed horror author Ramsey Campbell, who lives just down the road here. I got a full uncut copy from him via America, and but even so, the trims to the Evil Dead were not that bad. In fact, I know I've said this before, that when I saw the uncut version of the Evil Dead for the first time, it lacked the impact of the theatrical version, the UK cut down version, because what Sam Raimi and co did, every gore effect just went on a 2 or 3 seconds longer, and it diminished the effect. Whereas, and I'm in no way censorship, you know that, so I'm not even going to say it. Censorship is wrong, but weirdly enough, the film had more impact with the cuts that were made, because each blow, like the fingers come through the door and it gets to the rifle, but the shotgun blow, bang, and the fingers, oh, that hurts, oh yeah, Jesus Christ. But in the full uncut version, he hits it once, 2, 3 times. It's overkill. It's great, but it's also the effect, the dynamic impact it had on you watching it initially. What it was the impact of these shots and these particular sequences was so powerful. And then you watch the uncut one, it just dilutes it by just being a bit OTT. Hope you know what I mean. I would never watch a cut version of Evil Dead ever again. But it worked. But I remember standing in front of that poster. But they had standees for the most obscure of movies, and I did get some stuff. As I say, I've got stuff which is they're so mottled now. Only I know what they are, and they've shrunk down. Some have been in the sunlight, in the skylight for too long, and they've completely withered over. Incidentally, don't know if you can see, but Mary, let's bring him down a little bit. Can you see here? There's almost like the Omen. There's a line through his neck. It's almost like David Warner's photographed him. And look at this. There's a curious line here, and he'll be beheaded at some point. Well, I've got several standees of the Fellowship, and I kid you not, I'm not going to get them down because it's going to be too much. I'm not stepping over this cable again. Every single one of them, his neck or head is damaged. Only him. There's one of the Fellowship, it's just the 4 hobbits, which is in our front room, and it's by the bar in the front room. And again, his head has been snapped back, so I've had to try to fix it up. Now, if you look, well, I can't show you, but behind there, his head's been snapped back, and it's all taped up at the back. So, what's going on with Mary? Mary's not having such a merry time of it, is he? In cardboard form. So, isn't that weird? Is that not weird? Anyway, folks, the Fellowship of the Ring, Return of the King, Hobbits, Merry, Pippin, awesome guys that do such amazing job for Middle Earth, and really do sell their souls for the greater good. And of course, he has that great moment with Gandalf. This is the end. We're going to die. Death is not the end. No. What happens next? And Gandalf tells him about, I've forgotten the lines. the Grey Havens and all this sort of stuff, which is not like getting off with a gilf, by the way. But he tells him about that, and that's not so bad, is it? No. But then you hear the great big trolls, with their war hammers, are smashing the doors down, bang, and suddenly, Pippin just goes, even though he's been given the most uplifting end of your days sort of speech, don't worry, it's all going to be fine. Even if you die, it'd be great. His fear comes back, and Gandalf just goes to him yes, now. But they fight on, and it's wonderful. But these two guys are great. I love their tomfoolery, their trickery, just their camaraderie and banter, and the fact that We all know people like this. I've been like this. Well, some would say I haven't changed. Where you are devil may care, and you do maybe the wrong things. You're too self-indulgent, and you don't do the right thing at the right time for the people that really need it. Those two guys are like that. But like everybody, myself included, who's had moments like that, you still, when the chips are down, when the shit hits the fan, if you've got any worth in you, you'll still do the right thing at the end of the day, and people will always know that and respect that. And these two guys exemplify that. Your Frodos and your Sams are just too fucking saintly beyond belief. It's just like, oh, no one's like that. Oh, Mr. Frodo's there, the bollocks. These two go through a shitstorm. They're bosom buddies. They get separated. They come back, but they fight amazingly well. They find their courage, and it's wonderful to behold. It's a great. The whole movie trilogy is a massive undertaking for Peter Jackson, and it's a cinematic work of art. A lot of people poo-poo it now, which I don't understand. It's just because so many other movies have floated past our eyes, our retina since then. Big epics and big special effects extravaganzas. But this had the effects, the story, the world building, and most importantly, the emotion was there. And these two guys exemplify that, as in fact all the characters do. Everybody has a lot on their plate. Everyone's got a lot to get through, and they all do it with astounding quality and long-lasting beauty and finesse. So I love it. Astrodyne, mate, many thanks for that. It was not what I expected, I'll be honest. I did not know what was going to be in that package. That was not what I thought of. Although I did say, is this a life-size cutout of Warwick Davis from Willow? And I've met Warwick Davis from Willow. I've discussed that before. I'm not going to go into that story right now, because there's been too many anecdotes and stuff floating around this video. So if you've not done that story, just ask me and I'll tell it next time. But I've got a feeling some Black Riders approaching. Where can I get this reforged? It's a bit on the short side. You know what I mean? I can still do some damage, but bloody hell, just want a big two-handed bastard swords. Come on. Howard Shore's music though. The Hobbit stuff is so light and so buoyant, energetic, but it can turn so dark. We all want to live in the Shire, don't we? Oh, of course, England, where I am. England is that's what Tolkien wrote about. It was the East invading the West, and the homelands of the English. The Cotswolds, Somerset, Surrey, all the Meadowlands, and the fields, the British Isles. So the Hobbiton and the Shire is beautiful and green. So where did he film it? New Zealand, which is beautiful and green. in a lot of it. Folks, anyway, there you go. That was what was in the package. It was a couple of hobbits with a couple of swords, looking a bit pensive and weary. As I say, I'm not too sure what these two guys have done since. I know that they've done a fair bit, and he's fantastic in Master and Commander. He's been in. He was in Wolverine as well. Wolverine Origins, X-Men. Fucking, it's a shit movie, but he's doing stuff. I think they've done a lot of TV as well. But it'd be great to see them again in something much bigger, and have their names really on the posters. It'd be Dominic Monaghan, Billy Boyd. That's a great name, Billy Boyd. Anyway, folks, there you go. I have been, always shall be, Kilt-Man. So please, in the meantime, and this ever broken, sordid in between time, please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. Be happy you all, and try and keep it secret. Keep it safe. I'm going to see you all. Oosh, bam. Raiders. Full of